Have you ever felt overwhelmed, angry, or empty but couldn't explain why? That moment when your emotions feel bigger than your words can be the beginning of real change. What if the emotion you try hardest to avoid is actually the one that can help you heal? Today we're going to talk about emotional awareness, why it matters, and how learning to understand your feelings can transform your relationships, your confidence, and your everyday life. Most people are taught how to think, how to work, and how to solve problems. But very few people are taught how to understand their emotions. So when we feel stress, sadness, frustration, jealousy, shame, or fear, we often do one of three things. We ignore it, we push it down, or we react without thinking. And that can create a lot of pain. Emotional awareness is the ability to notice what you feel, name it honestly, and understand what it is trying to tell you. It doesn't mean you become overly emotional. It means you become more aware of your inner world instead of being controlled by it. Think about how many arguments begin not because someone is truly angry, but because they are actually hurt, embarrassed, lonely, or afraid. When you cannot identify the real emotion, everything gets mixed together. A small comment can feel like an attack. A little disappointment can feel like failure. A stressful day can turn into a breakdown. That is why emotional awareness matters. It gives you a pause between feeling and reacting. And in that pause you gain choice. Emotional awareness starts with noticing what is happening in your body and mind. Sometimes emotions show up as tight shoulders, a racing heart, a heavy chest, or a sudden urge to withdraw. Other times they show up as overthinking, irritation, or numbness. The key is not to judge the feeling. The key is to ask, what am I actually feeling right now? For example, anger may really be frustration or hurt. Sadness may be grief or loneliness. Anxiety may be fear of losing control. Jealousy may be insecurity or a fear of not being enough. When you can identify the real feeling, you can respond with more wisdom. Many people avoid emotions because they were taught emotions are a weakness. Some grew up hearing things like, don't cry, stop being dramatic, or just get over it. Others learned that showing feelings leads to rejection, conflict, or embarrassment, so they learn to hide what they feel. But emotional suppression usually doesn't remove the emotion. It just sends it underground where it can come back as stress, tension, burnout, or sudden emotional explosions. Avoiding emotions may feel safe in the moment, but over time it disconnects you from yourself. Here's a simple practice you can use anytime. First, pause. Second, ask yourself, what am I feeling? Third, name it as specifically as possible. Not just bad, but sad, overwhelmed, disappointed, anxious, or unseen. Then ask one more question. What do I need right now? Maybe you need rest. Maybe you need reassurance. Maybe you need space. Maybe you need to speak up. Maybe you need support. Emotional awareness is not only about noticing the emotion. It is about listening to what the emotion is asking for. This skill changes relationships in a big way. When you understand your own emotions, you become less likely to blame other people for what is happening inside you. You can say, I feel hurt, instead of attacking someone. You can say, I feel anxious, instead of pretending everything is fine. You can say, I need a minute, instead of reacting in a way you later regret. That creates better communication, more trust, and less conflict. It also helps you understand other people. When someone is rude, closed off, or overly emotional, they may be carrying fear, pain, or shame underneath. That doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it does help you respond with more clarity and compassion. This is not just a personal skill. It is a life skill. At work, emotional awareness can help you handle pressure, feedback, and deadlines without spiraling. In daily life, it can help you make better decisions because you are less likely to act from panic or impulse. In hard moments, it can help you stay grounded enough to choose what matters most. The more emotionally aware you become, the less power random moods have over your day. Now imagine someone who has spent years believing they are too sensitive, too angry, or too much. They try to hide their feelings, but the stress keeps building. They feel disconnected from friends, drained at work, and frustrated with themselves. Then one day, they begin to notice their emotions instead of fighting them. They realize their anger was protecting their boundaries. Their sadness was pointing to a loss they never processed. Their anxiety was asking for safety and structure. Their emotions were never the enemy. They were messages. And once they started listening, everything changed. They became calmer not because life got perfect, but because they stopped battling themselves. They started speaking more honestly. They made better choices. Their relationships improved. And for the first time in a long time, they felt connected to their own life. That is the hopeful truth about emotional awareness. Can bring you back to yourself. You do not have to be ruled by every feeling. You do not have to suppress your emotions to be strong. You can learn to notice them, name them, and use them as guidance. The more you understand what you feel, the more peaceful, honest, and confident your life becomes. And slowly, what once felt overwhelming becomes understandable. What once felt confusing becomes clear. What once felt heavy becomes something you can carry. Emotional awareness does not make you perfect. It makes you present. And that can change everything. The more clearly you understand your emotions, the more fully you can live your life.
Have you ever noticed that the hardest emotions are often the ones that try to hide the most? Not because they are bad, but because they feel too uncomfortable, too messy, or too personal to face. That is where emotional growth really begins. Because emotional awareness is not just about knowing what you feel. It is about learning how to stay with yourself when the feeling is uncomfortable. In the first part, we talked about noticing emotions, naming them, and understanding what they are telling you. Now let us go deeper. Because once you become aware of your emotions, the next question is this. What do you do with them? A lot of people think the goal is to get rid of difficult emotions as fast as possible. But that is not the goal. The goal is to understand them, move through them, and learn from them. Every emotion has a role. Fear protects you. Sadness helps you grieve. Anger helps you notice when something is wrong. Joy reminds you what matters. Even jealousy, shame, and disappointment can teach you something if you are willing to listen. The problem is not that emotions exist. The problem is when we do not know how to handle them. When that happens, emotions start controlling our choices instead of informing them. You may send a text you do not mean. You may shut down in a conversation. You may say yes when you wanted to say no. You may disappear from people you care about. You may overthink every detail until your mind is exhausted. That is why emotional awareness is only the first step. The next step is emotional regulation. That means learning how to respond instead of react. And that skill can change your life. Learning to sit with discomfort. One of the most powerful things you can learn is how to sit with a feeling without immediately escaping it. That might sound simple. But for many people it is incredibly hard. As soon as discomfort shows up, we reach for distractions. We scroll. We eat. We overwork. We binge watch. We shut down. We pretend we are fine. But if you always run from discomfort, you never learn what it is trying to teach you. Sometimes the feeling will pass on its own. Sometimes it will grow louder until you finally pay attention. The more willing you are to sit with discomfort, the less power it has over you. That does not mean forcing yourself to suffer. It means giving yourself a little space to breathe, notice, and listen before reacting. The story emotions tell. Every strong emotion carries a story. Anger may be saying, something feels on fire. Sadness may be saying, something matters to me. Anxiety may be saying, in its safety. Shame may be saying, I am afraid of being rejected. Loneliness may be saying, in its connection. When you understand the story, you stop treating the emotion like an enemy. You begin treating it like a messenger. And once you do that, you can ask better questions. Not vi am iso broken. But what is this emotion trying to protect? Not we can't just get over it. But what do I need right now? That small shift creates a huge change. How emotional awareness builds confidence. A lot of confidence problems are actually emotional awareness problems. People think confidence means never doubting yourself. But real confidence is not pretending you are unshaken. Real confidence is knowing how to handle what you feel. When you understand your emotions, you stop being so afraid of them. And when you are less afraid of your emotions, you become less afraid of yourself. That is where confidence grows. You stop apologizing for having feelings. You stop saying every hard emotion as a failure. You stop believing that being vulnerable makes you weak. Instead, you realize that emotional honesty is one of the strongest things a person can practice. Because it takes courage to tell the truth about what is happening inside you. Emotional awareness and healing. Healing does not always happen in a big moment. More often it happens in small moments of awareness. The moment you realize you are not just angry, you are hurt. The moment you realize your numbness is really exhaustion. The moment you realize your silence is actually fear. The moment you realize you have been surviving but not fully living. Those moments matter. Because healing begins when you stop abandoning your own feelings. You do not have to fix everything at once. You only have to become honest with yourself. That honesty is the beginning of change. A healthier way forward. So how do you keep growing emotionally? Start small. Pause when you feel triggered. Name what you feel. Notice where it shows up in your body. Ask what need is underneath it. Then choose your next step with care. Sometimes that next step is rest. Sometimes it is a conversation. Sometimes it is a boundary. Sometimes it is forgiveness. Sometimes it is simply patience. You do not need to have perfect emotional control. You just need to keep practicing awareness. Because each time you do, you strengthen your ability to live with more clarity and less chaos. A new way to see yourself. Maybe for a long time, you thought your emotions were proof that something was wrong with you. But what if they were actually proof that you are human? What if your sensitivity is not a flaw but a signal? What if your emotions are not here to sabotage your life, but to help you understand it? That change in perspective can be life-giving. It can help you stop fighting yourself. It can help you feel less alone. It can help you trust your own inner world again. And when that happens, everything begins to soften. You speak more honestly. You listen more deeply. You react less quickly. You recover faster. You live with more peace. Happy ending. The beautiful part of emotional awareness is that it does not just help you survive hard moments. It helps you grow through them. It gives you the power to understand yourself instead of hiding from yourself. It helps you build healthier relationships. It helps you make wiser choices. And it helps you feel more at home in your own life. So if you have ever felt overwhelmed by your emotions, remember this. Your feelings are not the end of your story. They are a part of it. And once you learn how to listen to them, they can lead you toward healing, strength, and peace. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are learning. And that learning can change everything.